When Kalen DeBoer was hired, many Alabama fans heard from opposing fan bases that this guy can't recruit. Well, as we sit here and talk, all he has done is get Alabama to a top 5 class in the class of 2025. And when we look at it and look at the top 10, he has the number 2 average player ranking in the nation, and it doesn't look to be cooling down anytime soon. Today, we need to talk about the latest addition that DeBoer and company got on the recruiting trail for four-star offensive lineman Michael Carroll out the state of Pennsylvania and why this is so exciting. But before we can, as always, y'all know the drill. I have got to hear from you. Hop down to the comments, Y for yes, N for no. Are you excited that Carroll is a part of this class? And let me know what you're thinking. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification as I do constant college football content. You don't want to miss any of it, and if you enjoyed the content, be sure to like and comment down below. But having said all that, let's jump right into this. First and foremost, as we always do in these recruiting videos, who is Michael Carroll? Well, as I alluded to in the intro, Michael Carroll is a four-star offensive lineman from the state of Pennsylvania. If we look at the 24/7 Sports Composite, they have him as the number 186 player in the nation, a top 10 interior offensive lineman, and a top 5 player in the state of Pennsylvania. But it is interesting to note that if you look around at different recruiting sites, they have him ranked vastly different. In fact, some have him as high as the number 27 player in the nation and the number 2 interior offensive lineman. And being the number 27 player in the nation would put him in 5-star range. So it's going to be interesting to see once the rankings update, once the rankings especially finalize, where he lands, because he is an incredibly gifted prospect who stands 6'6", 315 pounds, and in my opinion, has the versatility to do a lot for your offensive line. But it is important to note that whenever you watch Michael Carroll, whenever you turn on the film, he is making plays on both sides of the ball. He is a standout defensive lineman and a menace of an offensive lineman. So let's talk about what he brings to the table. First and foremost, he is violent at the point of attack. Whenever he can get his hands on somebody, it's done. Especially whenever he is pulling. When he initiates contact, that guy is completely taken out to play, and they are lucky if they stand on their own 2 feet. This guy is serving pancakes all day long whenever you look, and it's a lot of fun to watch. The second thing, he's quick. Not only is he quick in his first few steps, but he is a fast player. For someone being 6'6", 315 pounds, there were plays of him on the defensive side of the ball getting through the offensive line and chasing down the quarterback. And though you couldn't see the quarterback's facial expressions, just the way their body language was, they couldn't believe how fast he is. It was almost a panic moment for some of these quarterbacks being like, oh, he's chasing me down and I can't get away. Some of those guys just took themselves down voluntarily to try and get away from the inevitable of being absolutely sacked by someone of this stature. A lot of fun to watch. Michael Carroll is a very gifted prospect. The other thing I love, and it kind of coincides with what we just talked about, is he's explosive. He's explosive in his movement. He's explosive at the point of attack. And that's what you want, especially for someone playing guard, and especially whenever we talk about Kalen DeBoer's scheme. I think a major selling point for Michael Carroll was the Kalen DeBoer offense and how the offensive line operates, something that Coach Sean, Coach Jay, and myself, we've been talking about at length. That whenever you look at this offense, the offensive linemen pull at a higher rate than I've seen in quite some time. You have got to be athletic. You have got to be violent at the point of attack. You have got to have a motor that just doesn't quit, and that's the last thing we need to talk about with Michael Carroll. We've said this before, and especially with guys who play in the trenches, because football is won and lost in the trenches. Some of these guys have a trait that you just can't coach, right? You'll often heard it referred to as that dog mentality. And what to me that means is Michael Carroll's not going to quit until the whistle is blown. He doesn't know the definition of quit. This is a guy that has a real high motor. He's going to run someone down. He's going to initiate the contact. He is looking to make the block, but he's not looking to stop until the whistle is blown. He's going to continue blocking his guy until he has to quit. That's what I'm talking about. It's one thing to pancake somebody. It's another thing to make sure that guy's not getting back up. And that's what Michael Carroll brings to the table. That's that dog mentality we're talking about. Now, there are great players all in high school football. Incredibly talented, incredibly gifted, and who can translate to the next level. But then there are guys that have all the physical attributes we just talked about. Very gifted, very talented, can translate to the next level. But now they have a mental edge, that dog mentality, if you will. Michael Carroll has that. And I'm very excited to see what this means going forward for Kalen DeBoer. They are after some impressive offensive linemen. Michael Carroll coming into this class has got to excite Alabama fans. And for everybody out there stating that, oh, this guy can't recruit, he's coming from Washington. This is something we talked about. He was recruiting off of Washington resources. Now he has Alabama resources. He's got Freddie Roach, who is a top 10 recruiter in the nation, who actually 24/7 Sports in a show just predicted would be a top 3 recruiter in this cycle. He has got recruiters on this staff. Colin Hitchler was a guy who was a top 15 recruiter in the nation at Wisconsin. Robert Gillespie, fantastic recruiter. Mo Linguist has proved to be a very good recruiter. Kane Womack, C-Rob, they have been fantastic on the trail after these linebackers. Now you have Coach Cap putting his hat in the race, getting a big-time win for a player that personally I think is going to continue flying up the recruiting boards, especially when you look at the disparity between some of the recruiting sites. Now, everyone has him as a 4-star as I sit here and record this video, but as I alluded to earlier in this video, some sites have him as high as the number 27 player in the nation, the number 2 interior offensive lineman, and if that's where he was to end up, let's just say this hypothetically, if he was to end up as the number 27 player in the nation, that's 5-star status. And that is going to excite Alabama fans everywhere as the coach that they were told can't recruit is solidifying a top 5 recruiting class in the nation, only furthering entrenching his position in the top 5. And as I also said in this video, when you look at the average recruit rank, Alabama has the number 2 average recruit rank in all of high school football in terms of top 10 teams in the nation right now. I said high school football and all of college football. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. Anyways, hop down to the comments. Let me know what you're thinking about this. Michael Carroll is a fantastic addition for the Alabama Crimson Tide. I know it's going to excite Alabama fans because people naturally were wondering, what are you going to do in the trenches? What wins are we going to be able to pull there? Now, I'm very interested to see what defensive line depth they're able to add in, but there is no question Michael Carroll is a fantastic win for this offensive line and for this Alabama Crimson Tide recruiting class. A recruiting class that is deeply entrenched in the top 5 recruiting classes in all of college football, got it right this time, and has the 2nd highest average player rank in all of college football recruiting classes, specifically in the top 10. So I shouldn't say all. Of top 10 recruiting classes in the nation. That's very impressive for a guy that can't recruit. Hop down to the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. That's it. See you.